First of all, thank you for doing this.
Yes.
We've talked about this. Well, I talked to you about it, I guess, a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, I want to check with you, and of course, check with Brent. I want to make sure. And you're like, I can make my own
Yeah,
decisions.
right.
I was like, I like this lady. Like, we'll do just fine.
Yes. And he was pumped I was doing it today too, so
Was
that's good.
he?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, I just don't like. I don't want to interfere with because I know how regimented and how structured everything
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog Week.
Yeah.
Like every day has its different little twist. And we're going on what, almost 6 months of it. So yeah, we should have it down by now at least. So throwing this in is no big deal.
Has it gone by as fast for you as it has for me, at least?
Yeah, it really has, but it's just been an awesome ride. I mean, I'm trying to like pinch myself a little bit and live in the moment and kind of it's not always as great. I mean, 14-0 is pretty special. And then Grant also
Crazy.
had a great season with the Raptors, so it's been a really good fall.
How do you
Hmm.
balance all of this as mom, wife, coaches? Well, I mean, there's
Yeah,
like, because you're kind of a mom to a lot of guys
yeah.
in a
Hmm.
sense, and you
Hmm.
got your family, and
Hmm.
they're all playing. And I mean, how do you balance it all?
I think I've always been better when I've been busy. I don't know if that's just from me being a college athlete and having to manage my time.
Yeah.
So I think that I do think I'm better when I've got a lot on my to-do list and can just kind of knock things out and feel that sense of accomplishment when I can, you know, check one of those things off my list. So
Well, because you told
yeah,
me you're making cupcakes again this week, right?
yeah, some sort of I haven't decided exactly, but some sort of a treat for a couple of the position groups each week. I try to do that. I did that always for quarterbacks when Brent was a coordinator and coached quarterbacks, which there's like what, five. So now I've
That's
tried.
easy.
Right, I know. So now I kind of do a couple different position groups each week, and just kind of keep a tally of who's up, this week, that kind of thing. So it's been fun. So yeah.
I'm overwhelmed just thinking about it. Just like, I mean, of course, I don't cook or bake or anything like that. So like, but I mean, all the stuff that you have on your plate, and what are conversations like at home? I, people say, well, we try not to bring it home, but
Hmm.
like, isn't it fun to bring it home sometimes and
Yeah.
just talk? Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll definitely ask questions. It's kind of like early in the week or maybe on a Sunday when they've just started watching film on the upcoming game for the next weekend. I'll kind of be like, where are we at? Where are we, like, oh, they're good. They're, kind of not quite there yet. And then as the week progresses, it's like, okay, we know this. This is what we're gonna do for this, and kind of feel like they're maybe a little more dialed in, which then makes me feel a little bit more, better about it. So,
yeah,
but he's good too. Like if someone isn't playing, one of our, last week, Scotty and Roe not playing, I kind of looked to Brent and he didn't seem to be panicking. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to panic because
yeah,
he's not panicking.
yeah.
So,
It's been
yeah.
crazy this year, though, when you talk about like guys kind of being hurt or
Hmm.
trying to heal up. The depth that this team has
Hmm.
is pretty remarkable. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild how many
Hmm.
guys have just stepped in and filled a role just
Yeah.
week in and week out.
And that's, I think, a mark of a good team. My kind of take on injuries, because I was injured in college, is, while you can say next man up, I don't like to forget about that, guy that's banged up. So,
Yeah.
'cause that's a hard thing too, a really hard thing. And so I think, I try to just give those guys a little love and attention and, make them a little surgery gift basket after their surgeries and just recognize that they'll be back better than ever. And I always think too with injuries, something good will come from this. Like
Yeah.
after I hurt my knee in college, I went to college one more year and that's when I met Brent. So I'm always like, you might not meet your spouse, but you could, and you never know. So something good I think comes out of each injury. And
Yeah. It's
it's
got to be so.
yeah.
I mean, and I know how much Brent cares about these players. I
Hmm.
mean, I think especially when you have kids of your own,
Hmm.
and he just, to me, he seems very much invested in each guy, and
Hmm.
when they go down, it feels like it takes a little bit out of him as well on a
Absolutely.
personal level.
Hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yeah,
I
I
mean, because
would say definitely. And he was lucky enough in his career to never be injured. So I think kind of what I've instilled in him is that care and compassion. Not that he didn't have it, but
right,
just, that's, as someone who went through it,
yeah,
to, just don't forget those guys because
yeah,
they're going to be back. But,
yeah.
he's very good about keeping them in the mix and, just giving them some love when they need it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be hard this year with guys going down who are seniors
Mm-hmm.
whose careers,
Yeah.
at least at the college level,
Mm-hmm.
are now over.
Well, I think Danny is basically on the coaching staff now, as far as
Yeah.
like his pep talks and
Yeah.
pregame. I think Brent said even a couple weeks ago they were late, kind of running out because Danny's talk was getting a little winded, which I love. So
Yeah. Well, that is good. I feel so bad for those guys who are seniors, and especially this year and
right.
any year. But
Mm-hmm.
when things are going like they're going, and you suffer a season or career-ending injury.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it seems like all these guys have handled it so well. Like everyone,
Yeah.
the perspective. There's a lot of leaders on this team.
There are. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of leaders, and kind of as far as the seniors go, they kind of have a different way they lead. So I think it's been a really great blend of that leadership and these, how they're great young men, and they all just give a little bit to this team to make us who we are.
Yeah. What has this journey been like for you? Not just this season, but what's it like being a coach's wife and not knowing did you sign up for this? First of all, I guess that's the question. Did you sign
I
up
said
for
yes
this?
when you proposed, so this is my own doing, right? No, it's a great journey. Like I joke with another one of the coaches' wives. What if we were married to like an 8 to 5 kind of guy, or that it just, maybe it would be a little boring. So we're just there's not a lot of boring in being married to a coach. So there's a lot of independence you have to have, and but it's been a great life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like not knowing necessarily, obviously you both went to NDSU, you had a long coaching career there in a sense. And then you go to Wyoming for the better part of what? Seven years,
seasons,
yeah. What's that like, uprooting your family?
I feel very blessed that we haven't had to do that very much. We're really an anomaly in the coaching profession. I mean, we have friends that were married 8 years, had 8 moves. So, the boys were all born in Fargo and 7 years in Wyoming to fourth season here. I just am thankful because I think Brent does a really good job of just being where he is and just like, I don't know, loving where we're at. And that's obviously what we do here. So we feel very lucky to be here.
Yeah. This is such a unique place. I mean, obviously, you come from a cold weather place.
Right.
I mean, really, truth be known, it's way colder in Fargo for much more of the year than it is even here.
Yes. Well, we went from Fargo, real windy,
Yeah.
to Laramie, maybe windier. So here on a windy day, when people complain about the wind, I just say,
yeah, honestly, both Fargo and, I mean, obviously you were in a dome, but practices back then weren't in domes. And then you're playing in that conference, which is a tough conference, and you're playing South Dakota State, which has always been outside.
Well, if you back up a minute, it was North Dakota. That was our rival.
Yes, exactly.
Playing,
I know,
growing
and
up. So
it's funny isn't that weird how that's changed?
Yeah, I know, and I know they're not the Sioux anymore. They're the Fighting Hawks, but I just can't get behind Fighting Hawks. I still say Sioux, which is just kind of ingrained in me.
I think you're entitled to say whatever you want.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. No, but it's just wild to me because the weather in Laramie too. The first time I shot a game in Laramie was in 2006.
Okay.
And it was on ABC. It was a big game. It was Utah had come to Laramie, and like I said, it was on ABC, and it was so cold, and it was early November, and of course the elevation there, and the wind, and Alex Smith was the quarterback at Utah at the time, and lights went out at like halftime, and they had a hard time getting the lights back on, and I mean that is a different place to play. What was your time like there? Was it difficult?
I wouldn't say difficult. No, the boys were a really great age. We just kind of jumped into the Laramie community, and I mean, my best friend is in Laramie still, so they were just up for Cat Grizz a few weeks ago, her family. So we just have a lot of people, that we're still very close with in Laramie, and I'll never forget our first game there. There was a lightning delay, and so it was like, we're not in the dome anymore, that's for sure. So it was like push back. We're like under the bleachers, trying to ride out the lightning delay. But great memories there. It's great to have awesome players around us, and Josh that was a really fun
Yeah.
stretch with him, obviously, and other great guys.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
in fact,
Obviously.
I should say, not to interrupt you, but for Sean's Chambers' last game here, he had about 6 buddies from Wyoming came and surprised him for
that's awesome.
our last game last year, and that was really fun to hang out with them, and it was fun to see those.
That's cool.
Those guys
See,
support each other.
those are the things as a storyteller, I need to know about.
Yeah, right.
Like somebody needs to give me a heads up. Hey,
Yeah,
6
I
guys are going to
know.
surprise him.
Because they were real fun to tailgate with. Let's just say that.
Oh, I bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
no, they're great guys, and it was a surprise. So I was kind of there. This is where you go, this is where you park, and so it was
That's
really
cool.
fun. He was so surprised seeing them on the prowl.
Oh,
the
I
walk
bet.
is when he
I
saw them
bet.
all. Yeah.
That had to be a great run for Brent at being able to bring him over here. And,
Absolutely.
and now he's still with the
Yep,
team. He's
yeah,
coaching,
yeah.
and that's got to be.
It is. For the transfer portal and all the negativity that can bring, I think the transfer portal was the best thing ever for Sean Chambers and other athletes like him. So I think it can be good too. It doesn't have to just have this negative, chasing money and whatever. So for that, it was the best thing for Sean, and I know his parents would agree with me saying that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though, that transfer portal. I don't know how these coaches are handling it. I mean, a lot, they get asked all the time by the media, and I never ask them just because I don't want to bother them with that question.
Yeah.
But it's got to be really difficult on these coaches with this whole system now.
Yeah, college athletics has changed so much. Obviously,
and you have to adapt, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and if you're going to just grumble about it, that's one thing. But I think Brent does a good job of that. Not grumbling, of like embracing it. Usually, of embracing it and just accepting it and how we can go forward and make it work for us. And thankfully, we have so many awesome Montana guys on our team that want to be Bobcats for their career. So that's pretty special.
Can you talk about how different is it here from, say, North Dakota State? As far as, I don't know, maybe as far as the players, the team, the atmosphere, I don't know.
It's been like 11 years, I guess, since we've been there.
Yeah.
11, yeah.
But you won so much there.
We did, yes. And there were some hard years too.
Yeah.
I remember a difficult 3-8 year. And I think because we both went to college there, it just felt a little different than as it's your job.
Yeah.
But they're both great places to raise the boys. I don't know, just different. I guess more the West now being at Montana State. A little bit more of the mountain, embrace the cowboy way of life, I guess.
Yeah.
Also in Wyoming for that, but
everyone's embraced the cowboy
right?
way in Bozeman, right?
I know,
or
right?
Los Angeles, as we like to call it.
Yeah, we love it. We love everything about it, though.
Yeah.
Coming from a smaller town, that as Laramie, we just kind of we don't mind the Los Angeles reference.
Yeah.
At least I don't.
Yeah. Well, and just this place is so special. Where it's located, it's so pretty, and
for sure.
And you've just got such a great situation being here, and your boys love it.
They do. Yeah. Yep. They're all just doing great. And
Jake sure loved being out at the ranch this
summer.
Yeah,
he had
doing
a blast.
The branding and
maybe
a little too much.
Well, I feel like they maybe the whole Rocky Mountain oyster thing.
Oh.
I think it was like maybe flash fried for like a hot second, literally, and then I couldn't believe that. I've had one in my life, and it was breaded, fried, and then a lot of ranch to dip that in. So when he told me how he did it, thought that was kind of rough. So maybe that was a rite of passage from Brody. I don't know.
Yeah, they asked me, "Come on, man, you got to do it." I'm like, "No, I don't have to do anything. I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
I watched that kid handle those things all day long. He had them in his pockets. He was walking around with them. He's throwing them on the fire. He's taking them off.
Hard pass. Yeah, good. That was a good move.
Keep those things away from me.
Brandon, yes.
Yeah. But no, it was really funny. That was such a great time being out there with all those guys. And of course, once nighttime came after all the hard work, they're still wanting to wrestle steer.
Yeah.
And Jake's out there
trying
to do his best to get one down. And
yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a lot of video I have that,
Yeah.
I won't put out.
Yeah. Probably a good idea. Keep that for yourself.
Yeah, but No, he seems to have really embraced it,
Yeah.
and Montanans have embraced you guys,
Yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
that's got to feel good.
It does. Yeah. It's
It helps
fun.
to win.
It does,
Helps to
for
be good at what you
sure.
do.
For sure, it helps to win. For sure. Yes. Yeah. No, he's loving his life, loving MSU for college, for football. I mean, his buddies are pretty awesome young men, and it's been fun to get to know them and their families. And
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
I wanted to ask you about this whole NDSU thing as far as what these conversations may be like at home when you played basketball at NDSU.
Hmm.
You were part of a championship team. Actually, you
Hmm.
were part of some really good teams for a
Hmm.
stretch,
Hmm.
and then Brent was a part of all these national championship football teams, and then you got to play them in the championship game.
Yeah, that was a really well. The crazy part of that year was our first game here. So Brent's first game as a head coach. We played Wyoming at Wyoming. So that was
Yeah.
really crazy to go back to Wyoming. We just left, and then our last game was against NDSU. So that was I was like, that's like a Sports Illustrated story. No one jumped on that.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, it's a lot of. In fact, here's a funny story about Frisco. Our first year is that we're just standing in the stands waiting for the game, and all of a sudden I started clapping. Well, it was the NDSU school song. And so my sister-in-law, Brent's sister, was like, "Molly, stop clapping." Wrong. I think I've just been clapping to that song so many years that it just
Brainwashed with
brainwashed
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, and I think obviously everybody understands that, but it is such a unique thing because you guys were there for so long.
We were.
And like you said, you met there, and
Mhm.
so much of your boys are born in Fargo. I mean,
Mhm.
it's in your blood,
For sure.
so it's not going anywhere. But so then, how much does that translate to wanting to beat
Oh, well,
NDSU?
it's funny because people will say, "Well, is that hard? Who are you cheering for?" Like when we were playing them, and I kind of look at them
No,
like,
that's not
"Are you
hard.
serious? Like, you gotta follow the paycheck too, right?" I mean, of
Right?
course,
Yeah.
the Bison, we've loved our time there, and we'll always be Bison.
Yeah.
But we are Bobcats,
Yeah.
and there's no like
No,
wanting
and
them
you're
to win
competitors. Like
at
you
all.
want to
Right?
win. You don't
Yes,
care
for
what
sure,
team you're
for
playing.
sure. Yes, yeah. That was probably the hardest loss for me was last year, losing to the
Yeah,
because
that's what I
we
was gonna
wanted to
ask you
have them
because
at Bobcat Stadium, and then it just didn't just left a little bit too much out there
yeah,
and didn't get it done. But
yeah. So I'm sure you'd like to see them again, wouldn't you? Wouldn't that be the
well, we
ultimate?
got to take care of business on Saturday. So
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but let's just,
Knock on wood, again, all
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah.
very
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that would be the ultimate, is
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, that would be great.
Would be great. Would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to jump too far ahead.
Let's not.
I know, I know. Kind of crazy though that all of a sudden there's a fly in
There's a
here.
fly.
I will.
Get your chopsticks.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how South Dakota has kind of come out of
Yeah.
nowhere. For the longest time, you didn't really talk much about South Dakota, and here they are.
Yeah.
Um, it, and then I'm watching their game last week, and there's not that many people there.
Yeah, I'm hoping our crowd will really have a factor
Yeah, I
in the game
mean,
on Saturday.
yeah, I don't think it's got to.
I just wish it was gonna be a little colder, to be honest. Like
How
high
dare you?
40s.
How dare you?
High 40s? What? Mid-December?
I know.
Late
Well,
December.
it's like I think we've talked about this. I would rather it be cold and snowy than
Yeah.
warm and raining
Yeah,
or
true.
windy.
Well, I mean, actually, Brent and I talked about that, where for football players, unless it's brutally cold, like we're talking Brookings,
like South Dakota State maybe a couple years
where
ago.
they're just going to play. It's not going to phase them. It's maybe more for the fans.
Yeah.
But so he didn't think that's going to be wasn't going to worry about that because he had enough to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. You can't control the weather anyway.
Right,
so.
right.
But yeah, I mean the crowd factor. How fortunate do you guys feel to be in a place where
yeah.
I mean, in NDSU had they were notorious for great crowds, and that's changed a little there, which is weird to me.
It
but
really has.
But it hasn't changed here. It's only gotten better.
No,
you
I agree.
feel pretty fortunate to be a part of something
like
like
and
this.
the cool thing about our fans is they cheer. Like
they know what they're doing.
Our first game here, I can't remember if it was Luke or Grant, who were pretty little at the time, just kind of looked up at me and said, "Wow, these guys actually cheer."
Yeah.
And they're loud, and you don't sit down, so you don't need a blanket to sit on because you're not really sitting. So
yeah, most of the time you're not
it's
sitting.
a pretty electric environment. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's funny. Last week when I was getting shots pregame, and I'm running around setting up, trying to get a moon shot, and and then I'm trying to
Ooh,
think
that was
about.
a cool shot. Your moon
Thank
shot
you,
was a cool
thank you.
shot.
I'm trying to think about the prow, and when's that, and I'm looking at my watch, and well, I'm all the way in the Sunny Holland end zone up top, and then I hear the band starting to play, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
I gotta hurry up,
Yeah.
and so I grab my gear and I run all the way over there and get up there, and of course my heart rate is dangerously high by that time. And I'm out of breath, and I'm trying to get these shots, and everywhere I looked, there were the little bottles of Fireball.
Yeah, yep.
The
They're not
ultimate
mine.
the
Is that what
ultimate
you're
warmth
saying?
factor. No, I know they're not yours. You're not sitting over there. No.
Yeah.
No, but it's just funny. We're talking about warmth. I mean, that's another the
Hey,
warmth
internal
factor.
from the inside out, that helps.
It does. It does.
So I've heard.
So you've heard. Yes. No, the crowds here. I've shot a lot of football, and between here and University of Montana, I mean, the two of the best institutions, fan bases. I mean, in all of college football. I mean, you're going to go to a place like Alabama where there's 3 times as many people and they know how to cheer.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of places I've shot football, D1, and the fans don't know how to cheer.
Or they're loud on offense, or I feel like our fans get that part of it. Like louder on defense, and then you see people shushing the people around them if we're Tommy's back there, like
exactly.
So, but no, I agree. I think we have some awesome fans here.
Yeah, smart fans.
Smart fans.
You don't often see Tommy or them,
never
shushing
Tommy.
them. They get down there and the crowd knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
and I've seen it a couple times, but how important has it been? Because you guys have a pretty good family, as far as family comes in for games, and isn't your nephew's the kicker, right?
Nephew's the kicker, yeah. So actually, Jake and Miles live together too.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite the family affair. How important has that been over the years to have that support?
Oh, it's been awesome. And Brent's job, while it has stressful times and moments, it also brings our family together. So that's a really neat thing to have so many visitors during the fall, and at games like the national championship or bowl games in the past. So it's just a fun time that it can bring us all together.
Yeah. I read, this was a while ago, or I saw that when you guys were leaving Wyoming, or you were packing up, or you found a letter that that your dad, right?
Yeah.
Was it your dad had written to Brent?
Yeah. It was that was a neat moment. So because he got the job here, and then it was literally the next morning on a 7 a.m. flight from Laramie to Bozeman. And so quickly packing up his office, and I don't know if he grabbed it or I grabbed it, just like a manila envelope, and thought it was empty, and opened it, and there's this, my dad was a lawyer, so it was on this yellow legal notepad, and it was kind of he was always a letter writer. My dad was like, if you have a situation, pros and cons, right, just help them figure it out. So it was kind of like stay at NDSU to be the head coach at that time, all those years ago, or go with Coach Bull to Wyoming to be a coordinator. And so it was just like a moment where, even though he wasn't with us anymore, it was just like he was there kind of, he would have loved, oh my gosh, he would have loved to see Brent as a head coach. So that moment was so special, just because I felt like he was right there in that office with us, packing up and on this next journey that we were heading to. So it was a really neat moment.
That's got to be so random to find something.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he kept it. It means a lot to Brent.
For sure. And there's a lot of junk in that office, in those file drawers or whatever. So the fact that we found it was pretty, it was meant to happen, and I'm certain of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome to have your dad being so proud of him.
Yep, for sure. He would be the guy too, though, that would read the blogs. And so way back when, and so where, I didn't read the blogs because they'd make you cry. They were so mean. People are so mean.
Yeah.
And so he would say, well, so-and-so said this. And I would say, Dad, I'm not reading them for a reason. And I don't want you to read them and then tell me. So we had a good laugh about that too, about, just those kind of memories. But yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's very proud.
Yeah, I'm sure too.
is it hard for you when it comes to these at this point of the season? Is it hard to, I don't know, handle all the emotions of all these things that are going on, and
Yeah.
you want to win, and you know?
Yeah, it's just a lot. There's a lot going on right now with everything, just even with the holidays in the mix. But I think our eyes are just on that prize of, going out the way we want to go out with this season, and this team is just so amazing. I mean, the players, it's just different. It's I think from summer seeing these guys, being around these guys, they could just have a look in their eye and they're so dialed in, but they're still having fun. They love each other. So that has been just an honor to be there and kind of witness that. So it's been a pretty special season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me all the time, what's he like? What's Brent like? And what's he like? When he's not coaching. And obviously, I don't hang out with him in that sense. But
Mm-hmm.
like I'm like, well, he's pretty low key, like you see on the
Mm-hmm.
sidelines.
Yeah.
And I I say he's a great family guy and
Mm-hmm.
loves his players,
Mm-hmm.
and he's sincere. He's like
Mm-hmm.
he's a genuine artist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but what is it about Brent that we don't know? What give us
Ugh.
something that
Oh
what's he
boy.
like on the golf course?
Oh, not quiet and not, a little more vocal, maybe on the not always maybe a great word that you might hear. No, I think he's always been a guy that stoic is maybe a word I would use. Like he's not just going to talk to hear himself talk. He's not going to yell unless I mean, when the guys hear him yell, I think they know, oh, he's mad, like we screwed up or didn't do something right. So I think he's, I don't know if a man of, he's not a man of few words. I don't want to say that, but he's very intentional with what he says. He's not going to just talk to talk, like I said, and repeat himself over and over. And so I think that someone compared him actually to Sonny Holland, and I ran into Sonny's daughter. She came to one of my Pilates classes at the Ridge a few weeks ago, and I told her that was one of the biggest honors that anyone had maybe ever said to Brent, that just compared just his kind of mannerisms and how he was as a coach, and just carried himself with his team. So I just told her how kind of special that was for him.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if you're looking for a little more like crazy stories.
No.
I don't know. He likes to watch his boys play their sports. So if he's not coaching, he likes to kind of obviously follow them around. And
I've watched him in the stands a couple times. I'll zoom in and just see
yeah,
how
he's pretty.
like
Yeah.
after a certain play.
Yeah, he doesn't cheer. It's not like there's the parents that only cheer for their kid.
Yeah.
He just doesn't really cheer for anyone.
Right.
He's just kind of sometimes maybe like this.
Yeah.
And or like tells under his breath, box out, that's your board, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So, and I don't sit by him for football, at least. He made it to quite a few of the Raptor games this season. So there are a few times where I had to calm down, over there. And so.
He was probably a little more into it this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. So, but just, likes to golf, likes to cut his lawn on his fancy tractor.
Takes baths on Sundays.
Yeah, right. Not that. Nope. I'm not. A hot tub. He might jump in the hot tub. That's might be
that's
something.
Worthy.
But yes.
That's worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I know that I speak for a lot of people here in Montana and in Bozeman that feel so fortunate that you guys are the ones who came here, and that he was the one that became the head coach of this team, and to lead this team into really an era that they've not been in before. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who, when they talk to me, are like, man, he's the best. They think he's just the best. And of course they want him to stay forever. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I told somebody that I was sitting down with you, and they're like, well, ask her what's next. When are they, what job is he going to take? I'm like, I'm not asking. Like, why would I? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he is the best. I will agree with you that I think how Brent coaches, what he gets out of his players, listening to them, second chances for people, I think is an important thing that he's done in his past, and expects a lot, but also he's just a good guy. He's a good person. He does things the right way. Now, I'm not saying he cannot, at home there might be some times where you have to have a little like sit down. There might be a list on our cupboard of things, he needs to
Sure.
do before the weekend.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so no,
Yeah.
we feel so blessed and lucky to be here, and it's just been an awesome, awesome ride, and we got some business left to take care of this year.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, let's get it done.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.